Do you know the phrase, "There's more to life than money"? Have you ever noticed who says it the most? Rich people. And doesn't that just kind of grate on you a little bit? Like, of course there's more to life than money when you're sitting on a yacht saying it. But here's what's fascinating, and this is going to sound counterintuitive. They're not actually wrong. They're just leaving out the most important part of the story. Let me explain. The research nobody talks about. First, let's address the elephant in the room with some actual data because I'm tired of people pretending that money doesn't matter. A 2024 study from the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School surveyed thousands of people across income levels, including actual millionaires. The results? People earning around $30,000 a year rated their life satisfaction at or about 4 out of 7. People making $500,000 a year, around 5 out of 7. But here's the kicker. Multi-millionaires rated their lives closer to 6 out of 7. Translation? Money absolutely makes you happier. There's no magical plateau where money stops mattering. The researcher, Matthew Killingsworth, found that happiness continues rising well above $500,000 a year with no ceiling in sight. So, when rich people say, money doesn't buy happiness, the data literally proves them wrong. But, and this is where it gets interesting, they're experiencing something real that makes them feel like it's true. The card game nobody asked to play. Think of life like a card game, except instead of playing for fun, you're playing with problems. Every card in your hand is a problem you need to solve. Some of us are holding 25 cards: bills, student loans, car repairs, childcare, medical expenses, your rent, your mortgage, your food, your job insecurity, retirement savings, emergency fund, the list goes on and on. Some people have 15 cards, some have 10, some have 5. Rich people, they're sitting there with maybe 3 or 4 cards in their hand. Why? Because money solved the other 21 problems. They threw cash at the retirement card, the tuition card, the "how will I pay for this emergency" card, the vacation card, the reliable transportation card, the bills card, the Christmas gift card, the medical bills card. All those cards just disappeared with money. Poof, gone. The cognitive load nobody mentions. And here's where the science gets really interesting. Princeton researchers conducted a landmark study on this exact phenomenon. They found out that when people are preoccupied with financial concerns, their cognitive performance drops dramatically, equivalent to losing 13 IQ points or pulling an all-nighter. 13 IQ points. They tested this on sugarcane farmers in India who experienced cycles of wealth. Poor before harvest, and then rich afterwards. The same farmers performed significantly worse on cognitive tests when they were broke. Not because they were less intelligent, but because poverty was hijacking their mental bandwidth. The researchers called it bandwidth poverty. When you're constantly juggling financial problems, your brain literally has less capacity for everything else. Planning for the future, making good decisions, being present with your family, thinking creatively, all of these take a hit. One researcher, Elder Shafir, put it perfectly. When so many moments of the day require your full attention, there's very little of it left to worry about things that are not right in front of your eyes. The luxury of focus. So let's go back to our card game here for a second. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, but when you're holding 25 cards, your attention is fractured across 25 different problems. You can't give any single issue the deep thought it deserves because you're in constant triage mode. Okay, if I skip lunch today, I can pay that bill, but then I won't have gas money. Maybe I can borrow from my sister, but I already owe her some money. Should I pick up an extra shift at work, but then I'm gonna miss my kid's soccer game, and so on, every single day. Meanwhile, rich people with their 3 or 4 cards, they have the luxury, and yes, it is a luxury, of focusing deeply. They can spend hours thinking about their health, their relationships, their purpose in life, the legacy they're gonna leave. They can be contemplative, thoughtful, investigative, emotional about the problems that remain, not because they're better people, not because they're more intelligent, but because they have the mental bandwidth and time to spare. The universal problems. And here's the thing rich people discover when they finally clear out all the solvable problems. Some problems can't be solved with money. You can't buy back a deceased loved one. You can't purchase your way out of a terminal illness. You can't write a check to repair a broken relationship or fix a deep regret. Money won't reconnect you with an estranged friend or give your life meaning if you haven't found it already. These are universal, deeply human problems. Everyone has them. But here's the psychological twist. When these are the only problems left on your plate, they feel enormous. They dominate your mental landscape. When you don't have to worry about making rent, the family health scare becomes your whole world. When you don't have to stress about your kid's college fund, that family conflict gets your undivided attention. The problems feel heavier because nothing else is competing for your concern. So when a rich person says, there's more to life than money, what they're really saying is, I solved all the problems money could solve, and I still have problems, which is true. But what they're missing, and this is crucial, is that while they're staring at their 3 unsolvable cards, the rest of us are juggling 25, including those same 3 unsolvable ones. We have health scares and medical bills. We have family conflicts and the stress of keeping food on the table. We have the existential crises and panic about retirement. A Stanford study found that for low-income people, meaning becomes a much stronger predictor of happiness than it is for the wealthy people. Why? Because when you're struggling financially, you have to find meaning in the struggle itself just to survive psychologically. You can't afford therapy, extended vacations, or the time and space to find yourself. The uncomfortable truth. Here's what makes this whole thing so frustrating. Rich people aren't lying when they say money doesn't solve everything. They've lived it. They've literally tested that hypothesis by throwing money at problems and watching some problems stubbornly remain. But they have the privilege of knowing this through experience. They got to find out that money can't buy happiness by, well, having money. The rest of us don't get that luxury. We're stuck theorizing about whether money would solve our problems while simultaneously drowning in problems that money would absolutely solve. It's like someone who's never been hungry telling someone who's starving, you know what? Food isn't everything. Technically true, but read the room. The bitter irony. Want to know the really twisted part? The research shows that rich people are actually happier despite claiming money doesn't buy happiness. That Wharton study, the multimillionaires rating their lives at 6 out of 7, they're the same people most likely to say, there's more to life than money. They're happier, measurably, statistically significantly happier. But because they've eliminated so many problems, the remaining problems feel proportionally larger, creating this illusion that money didn't really help. It's like if you're carrying 100 pounds and someone takes away 95 pounds, you're going to be really aware of the remaining 5 pounds. Someone still carrying 100 pounds might look at you and think, must be nice to complain about that 5 pounds, and they'd be right. What this means for the rest of us. So where does this leave us? I'm not here to tell you that money is everything. It's not. Those unsolvable problems are real, and they hurt just as much regardless of your bank account. But I am here to tell you that the phrase, there's more to life than money, is often wielded without recognition of its privilege. Because yes, there is more to life than money. Relationships, health, purpose, love, meaning, all of that matters immensely. But when you're choosing between groceries and electricity, when you're one car breakdown away from losing your job, when you're lying awake calculating if you can afford your kid's field trip, in those moments, money isn't the only thing that matters, but it sure as hell matters a lot. The cognitive burden of financial stress is real. The mental bandwidth consumed by money problems is real. The difference between holding 25 cards and 5 cards is real. Rich people say there's more to life than money because they've already used money to clear the deck. They're playing a different game than the rest of us, even if they don't fully realize it. So the next time someone tells you money doesn't buy happiness, ask them how much money they have. Because it turns out, according to the actual research, money does buy happiness, quite a bit of it. Actually, it buys freedom, it buys bandwidth, it buys mental space to focus on the problems that truly matter. One of my favorite lines of any movie is when Keanu Reeves is an angel.
I tried to show him that wealth wouldn't solve all his problems.
And?
It seems to have solved most of his problems.
What money can't buy is a solution to every problem, and that's what rich people mean when they say there's more to life than money. They're just saying it from a place where they've already bought everything money can buy. And that makes all the difference.